Why is a fox the best choice for the animal in the story as opposed to a dog? This question just came to me, just apropos of nothing.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad because I knew it would by the time I was choosing the animal, I knew that the animal had to be released to the wild. So I didn't want it to be a dog or a cat or a typical pet that is definitely tamed, domesticated. I wanted it to have been a wild animal so that this could be a choice. Now I've got a lot of animals, though, to choose from. And the fox, I interviewed them. I actually sat them all down. I looked at what I could learn about all these wild animals and I interviewed them. And the fox, far and away, because as you probably know, when an author chooses an animal as a stand-in character, it's usually for something you can't put a child in, a situation. All these picture books about mice and little bunnies, that's because we are saying, we know, kids, that sometimes you feel overlooked and quiet and no one hears you and you don't have power. So we represent you by an animal that has those qualities that we're talking about. So I decided I want an animal that best represents my readership. And I'm already thinking these kids are 9 to 13, maybe. That's a great readership for packs. So I interviewed the animals, and here's why the fox won. First of all, it's really smart, like my readers. Foxes deserve the reputation for being clever. They are incredibly smart. They are so social, which I hadn't really known. They're social in an extraordinary way, too. Not only do they have strong family bonds and strong friendships, but they experience those friendships outside of their species, just as kids do. Very few animals do that, but foxes are known to have relationships with many other species, including humans. They relate. They relate to bear cubs. They'll relate to dogs. There's several actually new books out right now about people having relationships with foxes. They're adaptable. That's a terrific thing. Foxes thrive on 6 continents, and you could take a fox from a tundra in the Arctic and put it into a city and it would thrive. It would be all right. Foxes are in almost every climate, every situation, from city to wild woods, and they do just fine, just like kids. They're adaptable. They have a sense of humor, like my readers, and they're agile, like my readers. They're very playful, like my readers. So it was just the foxes was absolutely the best choice. Absolutely.
What does a fox interview look like?
I sit them down. I look at websites that do some reading. I look at pictures of them, and I watch videos of them. And then it was just so clear. And another thing that was quite wonderful was because the fox is described as cat software running dog hardware. So I thought my readers are going to have experience with both puppies and kittens and dogs and cats. So they already have the experience of how Pax is going to relate and how he's going to move, how he's going to be as a cuddly pet sometimes, or just how he's going to behave, because we know cats and dogs. So that was another thing. It's not going to pick a rhinoceros where we're just not comfortable with the way it moves and how it perceives the world. The fox was a great choice.
Something I had heard you say about Pax Journey Home was that you were so excited to be a fox again. And I love that you put it that way. How do you get into the head of a fox? How do you write this anthropomorphic animal that, it's not a fox, because he's got some vague humanish qualities that we can relate to. But it's very much a fox. So how do you walk that line? How do you make those decisions about how to craft that character?
Yeah. Again, the thing that guided me was no self-reflection. Do not be neurotic. Do not worry about anything other than something going on right now. Like Pax could be really worried about being harmed in nature, right? but he's not going to worry about how he'll perform or how he'll be judged. That's all I took away. And I tried to show that we share a lot with them. We're looking for comfort. We're looking for food. We're trying to adapt to a new environment. Both Peter and Pax in the original book, they're out on their own, you know, with some pretty harsh circumstances. Pax doesn't know how to hunt, for instance. Peter has a broken leg. These are hard things to be out in the wild with. So I wanted more than differences. I wanted to show, here's how we are. They both needed a mentor. They both got an older female mentor. Both Pax and Peter, as they start their journeys, run into an older female figure who tells them how the world is, who gives them some help in getting through. So I was mostly concerned with showing that even though we're different species, even though we move differently, we hunt differently, or we have many differences, sure, we also have a lot of things that are in common. We have in common.